And we're here in our Coach's Corner program with head coach Kelly Pierce of the Hettinger Scranton boys basketball team. And Coach, we've ended the season, wrapping things up, and just kind of going to go over the season this year. You had a great season. Obviously, started off probably not the way you wanted, but in the back of your mind, I know as you molded these kids into what you wanted to, you've always had the trust the process theory going in. And those first 8, 9, 10 games, the record wasn't looking good. You guys were struggling, and what was kind of going through your guys' minds and also at practice?
Yeah, I've always been a trust the process guy, and coming into the season, I knew we had to worry about ourselves. We had a lot of learning to do. I think we really didn't even game plan for one team until we played Flasher, the last regular season game of the year. Before that, we were just worried about ourselves, and a big thing is the why. I think our kids, they've always worked hard. They've always done a lot of really, really good things, but they didn't really understand the why we do this or why we do that. And once they started to understand that why, then the learning really started to happen. And just proud of the effort the kids had. I know we could have won some more regular season games had we been preparing for teams, but I think that would have stunted our growth as a team. So really focused on ourselves, and then, come tournament time, we started game planning for people, and we had some pretty good results.
Yeah, going back to the season, I mean, just watching some of the offenses, the inbounds plays, the defensive schemes, I kind of remember stuff that you did the first year that I was coaching, and seeing some of the same things there, and you knew the boys coming off of back-to-back years of different coaches, they have to learn a whole new system. They don't come in going, hey, I remember this from last year. I remember this from last year. Everything was kind of new to these kids as you brought in your new inbounds plays, your defenses, your offenses. And it seemed as the season went on, it took a while. It took one kid at a time to slowly click. And you seen that as they caught on, you saw what kids kind of knew what was going on.
Yeah, every coach has their own philosophy, has their own systems, and it takes time to teach those things. When I was talking about the why do we have to run wide, and as guards, and why do we have to cut hard every single time? And I think a lot of young players, they think, well, we have to do that so we can get open. No, a lot of times you need to cut hard or run wide so you get your teammates open. Yeah. I mean, just understanding those little things can be huge. But they really started to get it. I think some injuries stunted our growth a little bit. When we started the year with Gavin being injured for the first couple games, and then game 4, Maddox goes down in the first quarter for half the season. And when those things happen, everybody else had to take on different roles, and I think that was good. I think we grew from that, but it did stunt our growth a little bit to the point to where how we wanted to play had to change a little bit.
Well, you mentioned the why as far as the cutting hard, everything else. And if a team or a kid hasn't sat down and watched the Bowman County Bulldogs, I watched them in person earlier this year without broadcasting and on the floor. And I mean, when they cut, it's like sometimes they cut through, didn't look for the ball, but they were through the lane quicker than anything. And it just seems like if you cut through with a purpose, if you're doing stuff at 100%, you get those open shots.
Yeah, those hard cuts, like I said, very rarely at a high school varsity level are you going to make a basket cut, get the ball, and score a layup. Mm-hmm. But what you're going to do is you're going to create an advantage for a teammate, whether that's another teammate cutting into your gap or another teammate driving into your gap. And where Bowman really has an advantage on teams is they have some playmakers that can make tough shots. Well, when that happens, the gaps get bigger because you can't leave them and you can't help off of them. And our style, we played an inside-out style, and you don't see that very much in basketball anymore, where we value the post game. And analytics tell you that's the wrong way to go. I thought with our personnel it was the right way to go. But I reviewing our stats from the season, maybe analytics is right. I think we took 141 fewer threes than our opponents. We shot them at a higher percentage. We took 210 more twos than our opponents, shot at the same percentage, and the threes ended up winning out.
Yeah.
They just did, and I guess that's where analytics tells you that 30 to 40% of your shot should be 3-pointers, and we didn't play that way, and maybe we would have got a few more wins had we done that.
Yeah, and that's always tough telling your post player too. Hey, we got to shoot more threes. But no, I guess let's go right into that district tournament. The last 3 games that you guys played, I noticed it up at the regional tournament. There was some tears shed. There was some disappointment that last game of the year. But for the most part, I mean, were you guys really on borrowed time? I mean, you guys were the 6th seed going into the district tournament. You came out, you knocked off the number 2 team in the state of North Dakota, and was that regional tournament just kind of, hey, we're playing some free basketball right now. We win, hey, that's great. We get into the semifinals, we lose, hey, we finish the season on a good note.
Yeah, we really felt at the end of the year, even losing some games to Flasher and having a tough, tight game with Mott. But we really felt we were built for the postseason. We felt that, if we play our style, other teams don't match up with us very well. And actually going into the regional tournament, we knew Garrison was really good. We knew that they had some shot makers, but we also knew that they weren't very deep. But they had shot makers and they could score.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, if we can score enough points and get by Garrison, we really like where we were at. And maybe we're crazy, but we wanted another shot at Bowman. I mean, we really felt that Bowman was the best team in the region, without a doubt. But we also felt that we were probably the matchup that would have the best chance to give them a run, just because of our post game. I think to beat Bowman, you have to be able to rebound, you have to be able to score in the paint, and you have to have a point guard that's strong enough to take the bumps, and we felt we had that. And we would have loved to have another chance at Bowman, knowing that we would have been a pretty big underdog. Yep. But we felt we had the pieces that it's going to take to knock off a Bowman, and there's not very many teams in the state that have that, I don't think.
Now, you guys obviously lost to Flasher in that first round. As you said, your last couple losses were to Flasher, Grant County Mont Regent, and you got them in the loser outball game, and you knew what you had. You just got done playing them. You had a kid that 6'7", 6'8", doesn't like playing in the paint, so you had to guard for not only if he was going to post up, but was he going to start taking some threes and hit him. And that was kind of the big thing in that second half. He came out, and I could kind of tell. I mean, he hit those first couple, and everybody in the gym kind of thought, he's on fire, and that was kind of probably going through your head.
Oh, absolutely. Mott was a team that our inside-out game, we didn't match up real well with Mott, just because they had the 6'7", 6'8" kids, and we had a hard time scoring on Mott for some reason, or other teams were able to get out and run and go. But at halftime of that game, I told the assistant coaches after the players went back on the floor to warm up, I said, if the big redhead gets hot, we're in trouble, because we were having a difficult time scoring. And in the third quarter, he did. We made some adjustments, put Maddox on him to, try to get a little more physical with him. I mean, 5'11" versus 6'7", you want to be physical, but he did a nice job with it. And we found a way to score the basketball, and Caden Anderson made a huge shot to get us to overtime. And once we went into overtime, I thought, okay, we got him. I mean, I just really felt that we had him where we wanted him at that point. And so we fought through that game, and then we went on knowing we had to beat Glen Ullin to get to regionals.
Well, you had going into that game even all day, I thought to myself, there's two things are going to happen. We're going to knock off the number 2 team in the state, or Glen Ullin Hebron's going to come in so ticked off that they got knocked off the night before, and we're going to lose by 40. So it was kind of one of those games you didn't know what to expect out of Glen Ullin Hebron, and I think you guys set the tone early as far as, hey, we're here to battle, and we're not going to let you come in and knock us out of this gym.
Yeah, we knew from the first time we played Glen Ullin that we made some tactical mistakes. We didn't game plan for them the first time, and our screen and roll coverage, we did what we did against most teams, and we hard hedged and we helped on the roller, and they dominated us in the regular season game by helping on the roller. We left shooters, and their shooters made shots. So our plan going into that game, Blake, you're going to have to be a big boy and guard Mickelson all on your own. And we're going to go underneath the high ball screen, and we're not leaving shooters, and we're not going to help. We're going to have to man up, and we're going to have to guard our guy. And, the game plan worked, and we thought it would. We knew we had to be physical with them. They're more of a finesse team, and we thought, well, let's be physical and let's not let them do what they wanted to do, and we did a nice job with that.
Yeah, definitely a big win for you guys. Sent you to the regional tournament, and as you said, Garrison Troopers, they come out the number 1 seed out of the District 6, and you knew you had your work cut out for them. Another team you got to play in the regular season. It wasn't one of those where, hey, this is a team that we didn't get to play. You got to see Garrison and Washburn during the regular season, so it was nice to see that. But going in, you knew, okay, we've got this kid, and this kid, and I think going into the second half, I think the big thing was not the Egelhart that was scoring, but it was the other kid that ended up with 15, 16 rebounds on the night, and he played with 4 fouls for darn near 12 minutes, and I think if he had been out, that game would have been a whole different ball game with the rebounding.
Yeah, going into that Garrison game, we thought we were a good matchup. We knew that they had some shot makers. We knew that they had some good athletes, but we thought we matched up pretty well with them. Our whole goal going in, we need to score enough points. If we can get to 60, that was kind of, if we can get to 60, we're going to win this thing. Well, 58 is what we had in regulation, and then the first overtime is where the game got away from us. We had opportunities to score and we didn't, and once they got into the second overtime, Braxton Egelhart really got hot, and we struggled there. But the Garrisons, the Flashers, those type of teams. We were able to really game plan for them because they run a lot of sets, and they run some really good action. They're both very well coached, but sometimes with those teams that are very well coached, you can say, okay, they want to do this, so we have to take this away. Other teams like Mott, they're well coached, but they really don't. They rely on the big kid to make shots and to post up, and so there's really no game planning. You just have to play. And the Garrisons and Flashers, they're fun games to prepare for because that they're going to run their sets, they're going to run them well, and they have good athletes. So those are the matchups that are really fun. And like I said, if we could have pulled out that Garrison game at regionals, I think we could have been playing today, Saturday in Newtown, but it didn't happen. I told the kids, I always tell them no regrets. If you plan, if you put all that work in to prepare and do all those things, whatever happens on the scoreboard happens, but you're not going to have any regret. Because you did everything you could to prepare yourself for that game. And I think that's how the kids felt after that. They knew they gave it everything they had to try to get that win, and they just fell short. So were they disappointed? Absolutely. Did they want to keep playing? Absolutely. But they also knew that, we did what we could, and it just wasn't enough today.
Well, you've played in 3 different systems now. You played with the two classes, A and B, districts, regionals. We switched to the Super Region, which I enjoyed because it got rid of some of the games. But when this district tournament came back, and hey, we're a 3-class system. You got the districts, you got the regional, and all of a sudden this third place game means something. You saw it with the girls, have a chance to go to a state qualifying game. But what do you think of the first year of the 3-class system in the boys and girls basketball?
I love it. I think. I really like the district tournaments being back. I think if you looked at our boys' district tournament, every game was almost every game in the tournament was a hard-fought, tough game, and that's what you get when teams know each other well and they know their personnel well. So I really liked the district tournament going up to Bismarck St. Mary's and playing in the regional up there. I thought once again you had Flasher gets beat on a buzzer beater. Our game goes into double overtime. I just think some really good basketball games. And now those teams that did find a way to win that third place game, they have an opportunity. And the team that has a heartbreaker in the championship has an opportunity. So I really like the system. I think there's probably has to be a few tweaks here and there. But I think it's been a success so far. I think probably the kinks that need to be worked out the most is more on the media side, with your state tournaments being broadcasted and those types of things. From watching the girls' tournaments last weekend, it would have been nice to be able to see them all on TV. So I don't know what the answer is there, and I think the Activities Association will probably figure something out there. But to me, that's where the tweaks need to be made. I just thought it was I think it's a good system with what we have.
Well, watching Bowman County in a semifinal game at 12 o'clock noon was kind of weird to see. So, yeah, it'd be nice to get two networks involved, and you pick what division you want to play, or you alternate it enough where everything's, I'm sure, doable. It's just going to be at a crazy time. But, yeah, I think it went over well. 3-class system's probably here to stay. It was nice to see the Maple Rivers, the Sargent County, stuff like that, different teams in there. And I think for the most part, Mayport CG, one of the bigger Class B schools. You're still looking at the bigger schools are still dominating, but that could still going to give you a chance to get knocked off or something like that, get some of these smaller schools in there.
Yeah, there's always going to be haves and have-nots. Unless you're going to have 10 different where everybody is right there in enrollment, you're always going to have, the bigger schools, smaller schools. But, it's a lot easier for a school of 75 kids to compete with a school of 125 kids versus 75 all the way up to 325. And I think the middle division, you have some pretty big gaps there when you're looking at a Killdeer versus a Devil's Lake. There's some pretty big gaps there, but there's also not as many teams in that division either. So you still have some chances to move on and compete, and that's all you can ever ask for out of these divisions, is just give everybody a chance.
I think of the boys, the Killdeer is still alive, right?
They should be playing on
Saturday.
So, I just think there's chances for everybody, and I just think going into the season now, everybody can say we have a chance. Where I think in the old 2 class, you legitimately. We don't even know if we can get to the tournament, let alone compete. So I like the setup. I think the Activities Association did a really nice job of getting the 3-class system up and running, and they get some tweaks with TV coverage and those types of things. I think it'll only continue to get better.
Yep, there you go. All right, well, let's touch on your 7 seniors. I didn't think there was that many, but I think I did know that. But, 7 seniors you got to touch on, wrapping up their senior season, not only in basketball, but you got some track kids. You have some football players that have seen their last athletic events, and it's no different here in these 7 seniors for your squad.
Yeah, the first one I'll talk about, Riley Harrelson. He was primarily a JV player, practice player for us. It was just nice to have him as a part of the team. I think he enjoyed being with the guys all year long, and the guys enjoyed having him on the practice team and those types of things. So we salute Riley for sticking it out and playing the role to the best of his ability for us. Another senior that we had was Tyler Wilson. Tyler Wilson, he played a very pivotal role for us. He didn't always get a lot of major minutes on the varsity, but he was the one making Blake Larson and the Fortunes better in the post every day with his physicality and those types of things. Unfortunately, had a little bit of a back injury towards the end of the year, that he wasn't able to participate in the district tournament, but he played in all the games up to that point and was pivotal for our success in developing our post players through there. Joey Perkins, another senior. Joey is one of those players that really started to figure out his role. When Maddox was out for part of the year, we needed guards to step up that could be playmakers and score, and Joey was really starting to thrive in that role. I think of his Richardson Taylor game and his Washburn game. He was just starting to really thrive, and then unfortunately he broke his hand in our Washburn game, and he played another game with that broken hand, Glen Olin, but obviously just wasn't able to keep it going, And so we missed Joey down the stretch. He brought some energy, he brought some athleticism to the court, and just really proud of how he developed as a player as the year went on. And hopefully he can get that hand healed up for baseball, because I know that's the sport that he really likes to focus on. Fortune boys, Fortune, I would say, he averaged 10.2 points a game coming into the season. If somebody would have told me that, I would have taken it in a heartbeat. Really improved. His ability to score was always there, but his decision making got better as the season went on. He brought a nice, strong post presence to play off of Blake, and just became a better player throughout the passing the ball in the post and those types of things. So Forrest really probably our most improved player from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. And for Eddie Fortune, just energy, brought a lot of energy. Like Forrest, just improved with his decision making, understanding the game. The game slowed down a little bit for him. Obviously, very hard to guard. He was quick. A lot of times we didn't know where he was going, so the opponent weren't going to know where he was going either. But attitude-wise, got better as the season went on, and just real big contributor for us off the bench. Probably our sixth man coming off the bench. Malachi Dills. Malachi had a great season for us. Averaged in that 6-point range for us, but his energy is what he was really good at, getting some deflections and steals, and defensively he could guard a bigger player, he could guard a smaller player, and just did a lot of really good things for us on both ends of the floor down the stretch. In tournament time, he hit some threes. I think he hit as many threes in tournament time as he hit all regular season. And just continued to get better, continued to grow as a player, and we enjoyed having him play that role. So Malachi's going to be missed next year for sure, just for that. I don't know, Swiss Army knife that he gave to us. And then our last senior is Maddox Pierce. Maddox was the floor general. He missed half of the season with that torn hamstring. And then when he came back, he wasn't in basketball shape, probably still not in basketball shape. But really gave us that physical presence as a guard. Averaged close to 7 assists a game in the last 5-6 games, just with his playmaking and understanding of the game. And he had to retool his game a little bit, because we were playing a little more two-post offense, so there wasn't a lot of room to drive it. And there were times when he'd make decisions and drive in there when there wasn't room, and he knew right away. And so he became more of a distributor, more of a playmaker, more of a passer for us. And but he could guard people. And I think of the Glen Ullin game when we switched him on to the one Schneider boy. I mean, Riley didn't want the ball anymore. Maddox just cut off lanes and really guarded. So, I'm glad he was able to come back. We thought we lost him for the season, but he was able to come back and finish the season with his teammates. And I think he had a huge impact on our team, just with his passing and ball handling, and brought up the confidence of the team too, just knowing that we had his presence on the court. So obviously, being my son, I cherish the opportunity to coach him this year. I missed a lot of his basketball games growing up, coaching the girls and those types of things. So being able to be there all year was pretty special for me as a coach and as a dad as well. So those 7 seniors, they're gonna be missed. They're going to be missed, but we have some pretty good pieces coming back. So the future's bright for Nighthawk boys basketball, and these seniors are a big part of that. I think they changed the culture and made it pretty cool to be a basketball player again.
Well, after graduation, you got 7 open varsity jerseys for next year, so hopefully that'll light a fire underneath a lot of those JV kids that were close and need to put some work into the gym and come back and see if they can get into that state qualifier game.
Yeah, we have, 2 starters will be coming back. Blake Larson, all-region player, had one heck of a season. he's just going to continue to get better and better. And Caden Anderson at that off guard spot, really started to flourish as the season went on, and made a lot of big shots throughout tournament time and at the end of the season. And so those two will be our leaders, but there's a lot of players coming up through the ranks, whether you're looking at a Gavin Parno, Aiden Fisher, Oscar Perkins, Jason Schumacher. I'm sure I'm missing a few names in there as well. So, but I think the future's bright. Those underclassmen are going to have to take the lead now, and they're replacing a pretty valuable senior class, but the future's bright. We'll have a good off season, a good summer, and hopefully when we start next season, we're starting a little bit ahead instead of a little bit behind in just our our vocabulary and our expectations and all those types of things.
All right. Well, appreciate the time, Coach. Once again, thanks for all you do for Nighthawk basketball, not only from the boys' side, but the girls' side as well. And who knows, next weekend we could see a state title down here with Bowman County. They're one of the 1 seeds. What are you thinking? Obviously, the 4 champions are already crowned. They're got 4 more teams to punch their tickets this weekend, but any quick preseason or pre-tournament favorites that you're looking at?
Yeah, I Bowman County in my mind is the favorite. They might not be the 1 seed going into the tournament, but they probably have the most experience going into that tournament. To me, they're the favorite, and it's going to take a special team to beat them, and it's going to take a team that, like I said earlier, has a post presence and has that lead guard that can handle physicality. And if there's a team out there that has all that, then they have a chance. But without that post game and without that point guard that can stand up to the pressure, and it's not just the ball. You have to be a strong lead guard because they're going to keep throwing athlete after athlete at you, and so it's going to take a team with a special makeup, I think, to beat them. So my prediction's Bowman County, but there's a couple teams out there, the Bishop Ryans and the West Hopes and the Sargent Counties and North Star, that who knows, they might be able to put something together, but
should be fun.
Like I said earlier, we wish we could have got another run at them, but they're a special team, that's for sure, with 9 seniors, and they just you have two probably first team all-staters in the Duffield Twins, and then they just run waves of athletes at you. So you better be ready for a 32-minute battle and stay strong.
That's what they do, yeah. So all right, thanks again, Coach, for the time, and we appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Can't wait to see how this season plays out. But then good luck to the baseball team, track teams this spring. Hopefully our athletes will all be participating and making themselves better athletes and learning how to compete and those things. So good luck to those athletes and coaches this spring, and we'll get ready to put a good product on the court again next winter. That'll start here this summer.
Yes, summer, you bet.
So we'll be ready to go.
All right, thanks, Kelly.
Yep, thank you.
All right, head coach Kelly Pierce of the Hettinger Scranton boys basketball squad.